Welcome back for episode 2 of Jets, Mets, and Regrets. Jason, not a whole lot of regrets for you right now, is there?
I can't find one, Rick. I think the Jets won the draft. The Mets are in first place right now. We talked a couple weeks ago, and they're still in first place. It's May. Usually they win April and they lose the rest of the months. They've won April and they're winning in May. Zero regrets at all. It is great to be a Mets and a Jet fan right now. It is great.
So I do have to take you off your high horse just a little bit.
All right, let's hear it.
The Yankees are the best team in baseball.
That's fine. They're doing their thing.
I think they have 2 fewer losses, same number of wins.
If they wanna hang out with the big boys, they can meet us in the World Series, and then we'll see who'll be doing the talking and who the best team in baseball will be. But yeah, right now, I guess by record, they have the best record, right? So yeah, we'll give the Yankee fans that. That's fine.
Same number of wins.
They still need something. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to shit all over the American League because I hate the DH, but now that baseball is what it is, it's a lot harder to lean on that as an argument.
Yeah, it's an even playing field. You can't say the game's different. Obviously, so much different strategy in the National League when you had the pitcher. When do you take him out? When do you pinch hit? When do you double switch? But now, yeah, equal playing field. American and National League are the same.
It's not as much fun. And when they ban the shift here, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I get what baseball is trying to do. As a lifelong baseball fan and somebody who played baseball, I get how it could be a boring sport. I get how people could sit there and say, I'm not interested. I can't get into it. So I understand trying to get offense up, trying to get the game exciting. As a longtime baseball fan, I don't love it, but if it helps the sport and it saves the sport, I'm definitely all for it.
Fair enough. But hey, that's enough baseball talk. Let's get into this draft. The Jets end up making 7 selections, nothing after the 4th round. And hell, this is a draft here. This is a season defining draft. A lot of these players are going to play right now. So I guess I'll just take you through it. You can give me your reaction. But I want to start. Who is your favorite pick?
Well, number one, I would hate if my fellow Jet fans didn't, this early in the morning in Arizona, didn't get a Jet chant going on with me right now. So real quick, as we do in MetLife Stadium or in somebody's basement in Jersey, Jets, Jets.
Jets. I'll give you that one. That's the only one I'm giving you.
Yeah. I was lost in the Jet chant. What was the question again?
Best pick of the draft. Who you got?
Best pick of the draft? I got to go with Bryce Hall. I had some obvious picks in the first round, and I thought I know we could talk about the draft and I thought Nakobe Dean. I know he ended up dropping a lot more, which was surprising. But I thought when they traded up, I'm like, they're going after Dean, like they're making a smart move here, and they took Bryce Hall. And at first I was like, oh, like another running back. They got Michael Carter, but at the end of the day, everything relies on how Zach Wilson and the offense performs this year. And Bryce Hall, you could argue him or Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. But you could argue Bryce Hall was the number 1 running back in this draft. And to pair him with a guy like Michael Carter, who was very above average last year. And in the NFL, it's really, like I said last time we talked, it's a copycat league. And you need a 1-2 punch when it comes to running back. I love that move for the Jets. They revamped their offensive line. This guy, he was in his own scheme, I believe, in Iowa State. And I think the Jets run that same scheme. He could excel in this offense. And that was a very, in my opinion, under the radar pick. That was amazing. They traded up 2 spots. They didn't think he'd be there at 38. So they traded up with the Giants. I think they gave up a 5th round as well to trade up.
I believe so.
And I love that pick. Yeah, that wasn't expected, but once they did it, I loved it. And if he gets hurt and Michael Carter gets hurt, you have insurance. You still got another great back. And you need a running game, right? When you have a young quarterback, to develop him, you can't just have him airing out the ball 50 times a game, in my opinion. And I think this will help Zach Wilson and that offense tremendously.
And Hall's a workhorse. Led the entire country in rushing. 2020, I think. Just phenomenal workhorse back who can also catch the ball. they'll definitely make use of him right away. And like you said, they have other running backs there, so they can use him in creative ways. Uh, right off the top, little Sauce
Oh, I
Gardner.
love the sauce.
I thought the cornerbacks were an awesome value, even high, because of the ability they all had to really play anywhere in the defensive secondary. But Sauce is going to plug right in at corner. I'm
Yeah,
excited to see what he's capable of against NFL talent.
yeah,
Uh, Cincinnati not exactly playing great teams, but I think his skills will translate really well, especially in the East.
yeah. I love it. I'll say this: at number 3, I thought Houston was taking sauce. I was convinced. I watched the draft actually. My dad flew in from out of town, and I was watching with him, and I was like, Houston's taking sauce right here. We're not going to get him. We're going to get Thibodeau or a lineman or something else. And when they took Stingley, I was surprised because I think Jet fans, we remember back in the early 2000s, I think 2012 or 13, something around there, took the number 1 cornerback out of Alabama, D. Milner, very talented, but had a lot of injuries in college, and that translated over to the NFL. He couldn't stay on the field. So that was my knock on Stingley. So when they took Stingley, I'm like, let's go. But yeah, that's his knock. Cincinnati, not a big time school, but I will say, Rick, like obviously his tape looks good. He has the body tape, right? He's 6'3". He could run with these big receivers. And I think one of the telling moments was in the college playoff game, he did great against Jameson Williams, right? Who many believe would have been the top receiver in the draft if he didn't tear his ACL in that college football playoff game. So I think that's a good testament to what Sauce could be capable of.
And he's going to get tested early and often. There's a lot of big time receivers in the East now.
For sure. And that's why you go out and get him, right? At the end of the day, when we talked a couple of weeks ago, you have Stephon Diggs, right? You got to guard him. You have Tyreek Hill now. Patriots receivers I'm not super worried about right now. But then going over Waddle, right? I missed Waddle. You have Waddle as well. So yeah, a lot of great receivers. Why not go out and lock them down? And you get DJ Reed in free agency out of Seattle, who was actually graded, I think, from Pro Football Focus as one of the best cornerbacks last year. So very underrated signing by the Jets. I think his knock is he's just a little bit smaller of a corner. So yeah, you really add talent to that room. Bryce Hall, a late round pick by Joe Douglas a couple years ago, had a great year in my opinion last year. So now he's the number 3. Michael Carter II, another late round pick last year, a great slot corner for the Jets. So I think they've really added talent and depth to that cornerback room, and you need it in the NFL nowadays, right? It's a
You
passing
really
league.
do. Yeah, that and edge, and the Jets went and grabbed some edge guys too. At 10, took Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State. Love that pick. I like to hate on the Ohio State guys. Saints took one too, and I wasn't thrilled about that. But hey, you know what? They're hell of wide receivers, so it's hard to knock it too much. Where does Wilson slot in for you guys?
Yeah, I think again, and what Saleh and Douglas are really trying to do is they're trying to add competition and add depth in every position, right? So when I think about Garrett Wilson, I think he has tons of potential, but he slides in with an already talented room of and Elijah Moore, who really emerged last year, a 2nd-round pick from the Jets, as a great receiver, a guy who could line up on the outside and go deep, a guy who could run short routes, slide into the slot. He could really do it all. Corey Davis, not believing he's a true number 1, but I think Corey Davis in a talented room could be a great number 2 or number 3, right? Braxton Barrios, again, not an amazing guy, but a guy who not only was a All-Pro and Pro Bowl kick returner, but a guy who could be effective as a receiver. And then Denzel Mims, in my opinion, the wild card, very big, lengthy, fast receiver out of Baylor a couple of years ago, 2nd-round pick who supposedly is in great shape this year. He's ready to go. And so I think what the Jets are really doing is, I'm really high on Wilson, and I think he could be a great receiver in this league, but they're just really adding talent, and that's just going to open up the offense for Wilson. He's going to have more options, maybe less double coverage on an Elijah Moore or Corey Davis downfield. And that's really what they're doing. And yeah, I love the pick. I was really between him and Drake London. London went a little bit earlier, I believe, to Atlanta. So after that, Wilson, in my opinion, was the next best wide receiver in the draft, and the Jets went out and got him.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell the Falcons are doing, but ask the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean Mariota, they're trying to give him a big target, I guess. So it's thrown in his vicinity, and hopefully he jumps up and catches the ball like he did in college.
Just wild shit. At 26, Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah, that was woo. So
You know what, man? He fits in right away too. I really liked all your guys' first round picks because I think they all play immediately. And I don't think it's just because of the need. I think these guys are NFL talents for sure. I didn't see a whole lot of him. I don't see a whole lot of Florida State games because I'm usually watching Big Ten stuff. But the tape I did see on him, man, he's got some speed on the edge.
Yeah, so I was really, as the draft was unwinding, and that's the awesome thing about Joe Douglas, right? And as a Jet fan, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to perform, right? But I finally feel like we have the confidence he had. Excuse me. And he's been building up picks all these years, right? He got a second round for Sam Darnold, the Jamal Adams trade. He got that extra first rounder this year. And he's just been trading guys and getting value. And it's allowed him to trade up for 26 in the draft. And I was really pushing for Lindenbaum. I'm like, oh, man, he's still there. He's falling. Let's trade back in and get him. I think Baltimore took him the pick before we traded with Tennessee at 26 to get Jermaine Johnson.
That's right.
But yeah, a lot of mock drafts were having Jets supposedly taking Johnson at 4 and 10. And he was part of that Georgia defense. He ended up transferring to Florida State because he wasn't getting the playing time that he wanted. But he was part of that defense where I think a couple guys went in the first round in the draft from Georgia, right? They had one of the best defenses in the nation last year. And yeah, anytime you could get somebody who, as Joe Douglas said, was top 10 on his draft board at 26. I love the move. Be aggressive, go out and get him. And pass rush is something the Jets need. I was really high in getting Thibodeau at 4. Obviously, that didn't happen. So to get your pass rusher still at 26, and to be almost as great of a value as maybe a Thibodeau was on their board, that is a great pick. And you're going to pair him with, I know in Saleh's defense, he likes rotating rushers and defensive ends to always keep him fresh. So he's a guy who he's probably not going to be on the field 100% of the time, but he's definitely going to get playing time, and you're going to set him free and go after the quarterback and see what he could do. I'd love to see Mac Jones in the ground. Tua, want them to expose him and show him who he really is. And then Josh Allen's good, so I'm going to give him the respect. But I think Johnson's going to show Tua and Mac Jones and show the league who those guys really are, which is mediocre quarterback at best. I'm sure you could agree with me too.
You mean best quarterback in his class, McCorkle Jones.
I mean, hey, one Zach Wilson falls out this year. You got to look up, maybe get a graphic of a picture of Zach Wilson. He's looking pretty big over here. He's
getting swole.
He's actually looking nice. He's added some weight. He's doing some chest and some buys and back and whatever. Wilson looked like he got some weight on. I don't know who he's been training with. Hopefully not DeAndre Hopkins. He might get a suspension soon, but hey, he's looking good. So.
Oh, we talked about Bryce Hall at 36. Didn't have a pick again till 101.
Yes.
Took Jeremy Ruckert out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that one? I was a little surprised at taking a tight end given who's already on the roster.
Yeah, man, I love it, right? So Ruckert, real quick, he is a New York Jet fan. I mean, Rick, whether it was playing baseball back in the day, pickup football games, you're always imagining playing for your team, right? Balling out for your team. And Ruckert is a Jet fan from Long Island, New York. If you haven't looked up the video, everybody watch the video of him getting drafted. His dad going crazy, crying, screaming. It is beautiful. But I like it because at the end of the day, CJ Uzomah and Conklin, I think, could be what they were in Minnesota and Cincinnati. I think they could actually have upside and be better than that. But they've only signed 2-year contracts. Uzomah, he's 29, right? Tight ends in this league aren't really playing until they're 33, 34, 35. So even if Ruckert doesn't play right away, I really like that pick. I think he could develop into a great tight end in the league. He was a great blocking tight end, which is awesome. But a lot of scouts and the Jets believe that he was kind of hidden behind an Olave and a Wilson in Ohio State, and he could have been featured more in the passing game if those two guys weren't there. So he did what he was asked for, which is what you want out of any teammate, right? Anybody you're adding to the equation. But I think there's some untapped potential. And again, just another weapon you're adding to the room, right? As a defense, if you need to guard Hall and Rucker and Uzma and Conklin and Corey Davis and Garrett Wilson and Elijah, like that's just a lot for your defense to plan for. And I love it, man. I can't remember the last time the Jets had an offense like this. I think we'd have to go back to my boy Rex Ryan's teams, right? When they had a Braylon and a Santonio, Dustin Keller, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean
I
Green.
forgot LT
Like,
was on those teams.
yeah, like they had, Thomas Jones. They had some great offensive players on those teams. Jericho Cotchery. Like, that's the last time the Jets really had an offense where you're like, wow, like we got some guys who know how to catch and run routes and run the ball, right? Like basic football things that you're supposed to do. And like we have it now. We have it now.
At 111, Max Mitchell out of ULL, they got a tackle. They got somebody who can keep your boy upright here. Where's he going to slot in? Will he play this season?
Yeah, and Mitchell, I believe, I'd have to look at the exact number. I think he was rated as like a top 10 tackle in college football last year, obviously playing for a little bit of a smaller school. But I like it. If they drafted a lineman a little bit earlier, would have been nice, but I like all the picks I got early, so I can't knock that. And I think he's really a backup right now. Right now, you're looking at George Fant and Mekhi Becton. The only worry about Mekhi Becton is he in shape? What's his weight like this year? He had an injury where a lot of people believed he would have came back last year after 6 weeks. But he got injured, I believe, the first couple of weeks of the year. And he didn't come back at all. And I was watching Douglas's press conference the other day, he's still rehabbing. So there's a lot of worry of like what's going on there. There's a lot of unknown. He's not at OTAs right now. So I think they got him as insurance. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Fant and Becton have the opportunity to be one of the best tackle tandems in the game, in my opinion. But if Becton is not in the equation, I think Mitchell's insurance. If Becton is in the equation, I think Mitchell could really just develop at his own pace and develop nicely and potentially play in a couple of years. So I do like that pick. A lot of scouts like that pick as well.
And I know he can play both sides of the line. So that's always good to have a versatile backup there.
Yeah, absolutely.
117 was the Jets' last pick. They went with Michael Clemens out of A&M, another edge rusher. Value pick for sure, but I kind of like getting a little more speed, like you said, to be able to swap those guys in and out and put them in when their skill set kind of fits the situation.
Yeah, Clement, I think the only knock on him is he has some off the field issues, and I think that's why he wasn't maybe an earlier round pick. He's had a couple of arrests over the last couple of years. I mean, hey, who doesn't like to have fun sometimes? Take a trip to jail. Nothing wrong with that. Just be careful when in the NFL, right? But yeah, he's a little bit more of a riskier pick, but it's one of those, hey, high risk, high reward picks. And I believe the Jets did such a great job with their first 6 picks that they could expend their last pick in the draft on somebody who, hey, he could be a great pass rusher in this league, but he's a little bit of a wild card. Can Robert Saleh, can the coaching staff really make sure he stays out of trouble? Or is he going to run into the law again in the NFL? So, hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But if he could stay out of trouble, I think he could be great value. And at the end of the day, Saleh loves his defensive linemen. Look what he did over with the 49ers, right? Like he had a lot of guys getting after the quarterback. So I love it. He's finally trying to put his footprint on this Jets team. And you could really see it, I think, with this draft.
So I know you love this draft, but which one of these guys is your least favorite pick?
Yeah, ooh, that's a really, really tough pick. I'd probably go and say probably say Clemens. Nothing against him. I think like the other guys, in my opinion, are just more sure prospects. But don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love the high risk, high reward type of picks, especially in a draft cast like this. I don't like all high risk, high rewards, but yeah, I think he's the one wild card where it's like, could you have got somebody a little bit more safer? But everybody's such a good pick in my opinion. I just can't pick anybody else besides him.
Have you had a chance to look at these undrafted free agents that they signed?
I have not looked at undrafted free agents yet.
All right. Well, let me throw you a couple names that I think have a shot at the team. And obviously, you know the Jets way better than I do. But looking at the roster, right off the top, Bam Knight out of NC State. Um, damn, he's fast. Crowded running back room. But I think if he has a good camp, that might be somebody that sticks around.
Yeah,
Linebacker DQ Thomas out of Middle Tennessee. That's a fun one because I like defense.
yeah.
But my favorite on this list is actually DJ Ford, the safety out of Eastern Carolina. I was a little surprised that they didn't trade back in to get a safety. So to be able to sign a couple, they got Ford and Tony Adams out of Illinois. And I think one of those guys probably makes that team. I'm less familiar with your guys' safety situation, but players that get up and players that can tackle and hit hard.
Yeah, safety, I would say, they have right now the starters are looking like they got Jordan Whitehead he was in Tampa the last couple of years, won a Super Bowl actually with Tampa. So, in my opinion, great pick. Super Bowl winning player, has playoff experience, bringing him into the room, teach these young guys how to win, what it takes. LaMarcus Joyner signed him last year, was hurt the entire year, so he's coming back on a cheap deal. But yeah, I think safety is a really big opportunity to make the team. Running back's going to be tough right now. Your backups are looking like Tevin Coleman, who I'm not high on. I think he is what he is. He's a backup. And then Ty Johnson. So again, I think they have an opportunity to be that third back. And in the NFL, you never know, right? Running backs, you could be a Frank Gore and somehow play for 10, 15 years, or you could be, LaShawn McCoy or, some of those guys who they have 4 or 5 really good years, but that's it. And nothing to knock those guys either, right? You're getting hit every play. It's a tough position. So I think running back's a really big opportunity. And linebacker, same thing, besides CJ Mosley, who's almost up on his contract anyway. I think I'd have to look. I think he might have one more year after this year. Linebacker's really, really open, and that's something the Jets will have to address. So I think if they could develop some linebackers and give a guy a couple years to watch and play and develop, like that could be another spot. But I'll definitely watch tape on all the undrafted free agents. I'm sure there's more to come over the next couple weeks, and I'll definitely get back to you on some guys who I'm really, really excited about.
All right, so we talked Mets, we talked Jets. Do you have a regret of the week?
Ooh, regret of the week. I think yeah, I think I have 2 regrets, Rick. I have 2 regrets right now. I think my regret is I haven't bought in a Buck Showalter jersey, and I haven't bought in a Zach Wilson jersey yet. I mean, Rick, I got to tell you, right? Buck Showalter has missed 2 games this year. He missed the game, first series of the Brave series that just ended, or not first game. No, yeah, I think it was the first game in the Brave series, because in the Philly series, one of the Mets pitchers got ejected for throwing at one of the, forget what player it was, but they ended up suspending Buck. They lost the game. He didn't play. And then he had a procedure one day and he had to miss a medical procedure. He had to miss the game. And they lost that game. He missed too. So, and this guy is the GOAT, Rick. I mean, hey, they're 0-2 without him. That's all I'm saying, right? When you say Yankees have the best record, I'm pretty confident the Mets would have 2 more wins if Buck was playing right now. And then Zach Wilson, like I said, he broke up with the girlfriend last year. He's football is the only thing on his mind right now. Put some weight on. The Jets are giving him a line. They're giving him receivers, a running game. Like, that's probably my biggest regret right now. I got to get those 2 guys' jerseys.
So which jerseys? Which Mets jersey? Which Jets jersey?
Well, I said Zach Wilson and Buck Showalter.
No, I meant like color. Which uniform set?
You know what? The Mets they're black. That's a throwback. So the black jerseys used to be like early 2000s and stuff like that, late 90s. And they brought it back on Fridays. Buck was looking pretty good in the black, man. I might have to rock that. And Wilson, I think I'd go. I'd probably go green. Yeah, I go with their home jersey. So yeah, I mean, hey, like right now, there's not too many regrets. And you might humble me, Rick. You might come in a couple months, September, October, and be like, Jason, this draft class. Let me replay the video of you being high in this draft class. Like these guys suck, and I'll sit there and I'll be like, I'll have to eat my words, right? Same thing with the Mets. We could sit in a couple months and be like, hey, you guys were first place. Now you're fourth in the NL East, and I'll be like, we are. Hey, it's Buck. He was out the last month. He was sick.
It's all on Buck.
I blame it on Buck. But dude, not too many regrets right now. Like if we were doing this a couple years ago, oh man, I'd have tons of regrets. But right now, we might have to change it. Jets, Mets, and winning. Right? I don't know. Like, what are these teams doing? Right? They're putting the name of the show to shame right now.
We will find a different way to capture. Maybe we'll look at like a historic regret. Maybe we'll do like this day in history.
Yeah, we could do that, right? When's Bobby Bonilla Day? I mean, that's coming up soon, right? Like, yeah, it's not like historic ones, but hey, this might be a new culture with the Mets and the Jets. They might be finally turning a page. But we also say that every year, and they'll give you a month or two of glimpse of hope. And then the regrets come. So hey, to be determined, Rick. To be determined.
There's nothing wrong with hope and positivity. I'm glad that your teams are giving you something to smile about.
Woo! Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, this is Jets, Mets, and not regrets. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.